So which course do you like the most?
Data governance course, because I actually applied that at my workplace.
Forecasting forensic analytics. It's very useful for our future workplace because throughout the process, we learn to analyze complex data set to derive meaningful insights. So our project was to build a statistical model by analyzing the financial and non-financial data of companies and to detect whether the company has conducted intentional financial misstatement.
Data visualization with Tableau. So the final project, we were given a data set and we had to do a visualization, a story, a dashboard regarding the sales of different regions and how our regions fared compared to the other 4 regions, and we had to create a story.
Introduction to Python, because getting to know the coding world is interesting, and I realized that it can be very efficient to use coding languages to perform your work or like daily activities instead of just using Microsoft Excel.
Python and then R and of course SQL, which are all useful for like the workforce in the future. I found it really fun, but only fun when your code runs. Right. I was a data analyst intern and we actually used Python to come up with the data visualization and the data cleaning and stuff. So I felt that MSA program does give you the knowledge that you need to apply.
Statistics and forensic analytics, I think is really useful, especially the forensic accounting, where I get to handle large data and actually run regressions with different types of machine learning techniques, which is very important nowadays. So especially with accounting and data analytics, I think that's what the market is looking for currently as well. So I had fun in those 2 courses.
Value creation, so that's interesting because to tie sustainability with value creation. So we touch on sustainability and we talk about strategy. So and the course is quite interesting in the sense that we are looking at blue chips in Singapore and whether they are sustainable in their reporting.
Favorite one is probably machine learning for business, which I'm studying right now. I think it gives a really good overview of machine learning, potential advances we're going to see in the near future as well. Final project of ML is a really interesting one. We're designing a machine learning project. So we're looking at disaster management using Twitter to crowdsource potential indicators for the disasters that occur. It's really interesting for me because I think it's actually a really good real world application of what's going on, and I think that the amount of skills and the knowledge that you acquire from that can definitely be applied to sort of any field.
Data management teaches me a lot about like the SQL language, as well as how organizing data properly can increase efficiencies and also bring a lot of value to stakeholders of the business.
So how do you balance studying, doing projects, internship or work and your personal life?
I would say definitely don't leave the projects until the very end. The MSA program, the way it's structured is that your course load is pretty heavy and it is completed in a span of 10 to 11 weeks. So you do want to maximize the time usage, especially when it comes to projects, because you don't want to be sacrificing time studying for midterms and finals for the project. So you want to really manage your time for projects.
You just juggle by managing your time very well. You must know like when are your projects due. You have to plan ahead.
Important thing is find good groupmates. And don't procrastinate. I think friends are important, If you don't know anything, you can ask them. And also, you can ask your profs as well. They are really helpful.
Find a balance in the sense that you need to communicate with your loved ones. So I'm dating right now, also planning to get married soon. So I think when you embark on this journey to do part-time course or to take on an education, you need to communicate quite heavily because I'm working right now. So the supervisors and the bosses will know that you're taking on all this to take on better roles in the company.
For me, I try and balance my study during the week and really keep weekends to do any hobbies or activities you want to do, and that's how I try and do it. But sometimes this course is quite intensive, and that's okay. That's part of study, so that will creep into weekends. But when it's downtime, recognizing you need to rest and relax and recharge.
Have you had any faculty who really stand out to you?
Professor Posson, he is a professor of accounting information system. Not only care about our studies, he also care about our mental health.
Gary Pan and Benjamin Lee.
Prof. Gary, and which he's handling the SMU capstone subject. I think he's really nice, where he constantly tries to reach out to students.
Prof. Yanto, and he is quite a funny prof. But basically, every 2 weeks we'll have like a mini Kahoot session, which I felt that it makes class part more fun. People are willing to participate in class.
Prof. Holly, Yeah, she's our IFRS Part 1 prof and she bought us bubble tea. Really a very good prof in terms of explaining accounting theories and terms and stuff like that. So, and she explained it very clearly.
I think Prof. Clarence was very good, who taught Tableau. Also, Posan, who taught us AIS for the last term, he was also a really good prof.
Of Posan. I had him for my accounting information system course. He's very patient to us and his teaching style was very engaging.
Irene Liu have actually made a very big impact to me because she's actually a practitioner in the market and very experienced. So the examples that she gives are related to the financial service, which is very relevant to what I'm doing. So I do appreciate her.
He's quite energetic. I would think he's one of the most energetic professors I met, especially because our classes are all at night, right? So even at night classes, he keeps the class very lively. So he will share about his Korean dramas. We do a lot of class engagements.
Have you had to deal with any tough moments during your time in MSA, and how did you get through them?
It's more an ongoing thing is time management. I think this course, you'll be told from the beginning that it's an intensive course if you're successful in the interview process. I don't think even I was prepared for how intense. Having done a previous postgraduate studies was definitely a lot more intense than my previous postgraduate study. I think if you can keep a steady timetable, that will definitely help. And I think if you lose track of that timetable, you need to reset because this course is intensive. There's a lot to do and it's a lot to learn, but it's really enjoyable at the same time if you can keep on top of it. So
some course is about accounting, some course is about coding, and I didn't have too many experience about coding before. But the school suggests us we can learn some in the data cap. It's a website to learn some coding. So I try to use my spare time to do more coding practice, and I think this really helped me. And besides the studies, because I'm Chinese, and first time when I went to Singapore, I think the weather and the food here it's not so similar in China. But after about 1 year now, I think I'm quite used to this.
I feel like the tough period came when I was at my first term and I have to juggle work because I just joined a new company, and also the learning curve is very steep and I had to deal with 3 mods.
Say it's my term 2 lah, when I had full-time school and full-time internship, and how I did 4 mods, and yeah, I was dying. But how I managed to get over it was really
Just hustle through.
yeah, just hustle through. You find a good group of friends, to push you and motivate you.
Well, I would say one of the toughest is to juggle my work and my studies. And I would say the struggles are usually when deadlines like projects, exams, and trying to just manage both my work and my school together. Well, I would just have to make sacrifices. So one big tip is when you're doing part-time, you got to sacrifice.
So looking back at your experience here so far, what's been the best part for you?
I think SMU has provided me with an enriching environment where I get to know a lot of people, build meaningful relationships with my classmates, with professors and industry professionals. And I think by studying MSA has also helped me to set a solid foundation to start my career journey in Singapore.
I would say getting to meet international students like yourself and meeting locals as well, and most importantly, networking. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Frankly, I think the best part is making friends in class because it's quite funny because when I came to MSA, you would think that you won't really relate to a lot of people because most of them are international students. But then you realize that hey, you have some common friends of friends, and then you also meet with good friends like Sandra and the rest. So you get to get exposure from this course, so it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Okay, honestly, I think it's really the people. I know this sounds super cliche, but I do think it's the people because I didn't come to this program expecting that people will be so open and friendly and just open to sharing ideas. Because I think typically in the Singapore education system, we are competitive, and I think that's something that I experienced in my bachelor's program. But in a master's program, people are a lot more jovial and a lot more open to sharing ideas and learning from each other. So that's something I really appreciate. And of course, people come from many different nationalities as well, which even broadens up the horizon in diversity.
Of course, it's learning some new knowledge. When I look back to the whole term, I think this experience is really useful because it helped me to see my potential.
Would definitely be connecting with students from all over the place, because back in India, you get to meet only few specific states, or you don't get to mingle with so many international students and people with various ages and also work experiences.
The best part, wow. I mean, there's been a lot of good moments. I really enjoyed the social aspect. There's been a couple of events for the social committee, which has been really good. I really enjoyed that. I think from the course perspective, probably, as I was mentioning, the most difficult, but also the most interesting to me was the FFA course, completing that one. I think it really brought a lot of things together for me from the first sort of 2 semesters. Having done a previous accounting degree as well, I never really thought about the applications of some of this context.
Very thankful to be able to meet a great group of friends to get through like the high and lows together. So yeah, I feel like getting to know more people in the course and also having a very good group of friends to study with or like do projects with is very, very important, because that can be your motivational factor in terms of juggling like all your commitments and stuff. Yeah.
Of course, the courses and the teachers, and I especially think that SMU's culture is also very fun, where we have a lot of activities, so we don't only study, and it shows that SMU doesn't only focus on studies, it also wants us to learn how to socially learn how to interact with others. Yeah. And I think it was a great experience, and I would definitely recommend any other students who is interested in doing a master's in SMU to come.